Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Innovation Obsessed. Today, we're talking ISC West 2025, the biggest security event of the year, which is less than 2 weeks away. With so much new technology and conversation happening around the show, how do security leaders focus on what really matters? To break it down, I'm joined by Matt, Nate, and Drew from Usto, who will all be in Vegas with me for the show. Thanks for joining, guys. Let's get into it.
Sounds good.
So guys, security is evolving fast. What's a security trend or headline that you've seen recently that's kind of caught your attention and made you think about things maybe differently? Matt, let's start with you.
I think with the conversations that I've been having, a big one is people are trying to solve for tailgating. So they have a lot of access control units. They invest a lot of money into these access control units, but they're still getting people who are able to sneak in, whether they're, directly following someone or taking someone else's badge. So I think this ISC, I'd really like to hone in on how Usto's Vision AI capabilities can help solve for that. Mm-hmm. And I think we have a lot of good use cases in our demo to show that.
Yeah, I think part of that too is the executive protection side of things. It's been a huge thing that we've seen, since that United Healthcare incident. So building on the tailgating side of things, perimeter control, being out at events, helping to secure, golf outings, conferences, dinners, making sure the executives are safe. I think it's going to be a big trend given the news recently that we've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, another lens, I think the thing that I'm interested in learning about and seeing other approaches to it, as well as our own, is really the cyber meets physical. These can be put in silos, but I think when you're taking a holistic approach to security, you're looking at what are people saying online? What are former employees doing back at our facilities? Did we really prevent against those cyber threats becoming physical threats? And I think our technology can be a layer that helps you marry up those two areas of security into a cohesive, platform that can keep your assets, your people, and your operations safe.
So, ISC West is this place where all these big trends come together. We see all the big players in the industry joining for one industry event in Vegas. So what do you guys expect to be a key technology there? What do you think is going to be kind of the star of the show this year? Drew, you want to start?
Yeah, so I think one of the big things that I look for is how can Usto work with these other technologies? So last year when I was there, we had robot dogs walking around. How can we interact with a robot dog? How can we help with those types of security events, drone security, other integrations that we can do with, VMS systems and access control systems. So I'll be looking for, as I walk around the event, where are those other possibilities where Usto is an add-on or is an addition to their security?
Yeah. Me?
Yeah, I would say, this year I'm really interested in learning about innovation. Drew, I think has a great point with the robot dogs and the drones. I think this year we're going to see a lot of advances and the price of robotics start to come down. So it can be applicable in a lot of different environments or places where people thought, hey, we're priced out of using that technology. And I think when we pair our Vision AI capabilities with it, it's even more powerful and you can extend it to more circumstances. So that's definitely one I'm excited to see, but also looking at creative ways where you can apply this to solve new and unique use cases or maybe use cases that people haven't thought of before. So if you look at solving problems like elopement with our technology or even preventing against, insider threats with, doing things like a reverse watch list, even in a corporate setting, just to make sure employees aren't having access to sensitive information that they shouldn't. These are the things that we can do with, just a few cameras and our algorithms. And we've really perfected it so it works in different settings and really in the wild. So excited to see maybe some new ways that we can explore this with customers and partners.
Before we get to you, Matt, you mentioned something that I want to jump into a little bit and make sure the audience understands. So reverse watchlist alerting you mentioned. Tell the audience a little bit about what that is, how you see that used in education settings, but beyond that as well.
So this can be used in a number of different settings, but, basically you have your known individuals who should have access there. So if it's a residence hall, you have your residents, but you have visitors. And, with a technology like Usto, you can be really alerted when any watch listed person comes in. So any unknowns that are coming at you, And then you know that this person needs to be vetted. They need to stop at the desk and register, or in a corporate setting, you might have this on for your IT closet where you have your data center or you have any sensitive information. So you know our IT person has access to this, maybe one or two individuals. But if somebody badges in with a credential that isn't theirs, that can be flagged immediately, and you can really start to, address that threat or that risk before something escalates. So that's what we see, is a few specific scenarios, but we keep seeing more and more places doing this, like, gyms or sporting events where there's a lot of knowns, but there's some unknowns that we want to, vet and make sure they're there for the right reasons.
It's big in churches and synagogues too. So I always refer to it as the green, yellow, and reds. So greens are all the people that we know are permitted to come in. They haven't caused any issues. The reds are the bad guys. And then you got the yellows. They're the new people that came into the church for that day. So what do we do with the yellows? Do we move them to the red or do we move them to the green? Right. So that's kind of how they manage that process. But it's really knowing those unknowns and determining what we do with those unknowns.
Yeah. You just had the story with university that had the Tinder dates, serial killer on they had that in the residence halls, that reverse flash list, and they could have detected it, probably identified them much earlier.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just a way of using the technology in a different way. And a lot of times for places that need more security. So a space within the church or a space within the residence hall. So back to kind of ISC West. So security teams are making bigger investments than ever. They're looking at new technologies. You guys talked about some of the new technologies that we see out on the show floor. Physically, there's obviously a lot of hardware and software technologies. So for ISC West, how do you guys think that security teams should cut through the noise? How do they, kind of prioritize what they're looking at the show?
I'll follow up your question with another question. What's our booth number?
22137.
Okay, so that is it. Go 222317.
22137.
3137. But I actually am really excited to have the booth again, just because we have all the cameras set up. We have, hundreds of people walking in front of them at a time. So we really get to show off that in the wild experience that we're going for. Mm-hmm. It's easy to do these demos on a computer and do like that one-to-one matching. But at the shows, we're able to show, okay, here's a group of people, and out of all those faces, here's that one needle in the haystack that we're looking for. So I'm really excited to have that again this year.
Yeah.
I think one of the big things too is just doing a little research ahead of time. Obviously, we handle 90% of the strip in Las Vegas. So there's a reason why they standardize on our technology. So there's a reason why people should come see us, and see our technology, learn about our new innovations, and really learn how we help not only the gaming industry, but all the industries that we work in.
Yeah. And just to add what Drew just said is, the reason why they standardize on Usto, years ago is still true today. When you need the best, that's what Usto really provides. And I think you're going to see AI as a buzzword, and for the right reasons. That's where the innovation is. But for someone who's maybe new to considering what AI can do in their environment, I wouldn't just look to be a guinea pig to somebody who's just rolling out their first AI features. I would really look at the ones who've been doing it for years and doing it in a setting with, numerous challenges like a casino and like these big open environments that have to work with a number of challenges like many-to-many recognitions in different settings, 24, hours a day, 365 days a year, and able to do it reliably, with high accuracy and still progressing the technology. And, so we're that industry leader who's been here for a decade, not just 6 months, to be able to say we're doing AI. We live it and breathe it. So for folks who are maybe new to exploring it, come meet with us. We're happy to show you how it works.
Yeah, I'm glad you said you don't want to be the guinea pig, because I believe it was last ISC where we announced Protect for the first time. So
yeah,
this year we have customers who are actually been using it. They're seeing ROI already. They have good stories. So I'm excited to share those stories this year compared to last year, where it's just this new product that we're launching.
So you guys mentioned this a little bit. You just mentioned ROI and security budgets. So a lot of the security teams that come to the show are coming with a budget in mind, and they're looking at ways to use that budget. So obviously there's a ton of security technology out there. There's weapon detection, there's panic alarms, there's more security guards. What have you guys seen in your conversations with customers and prospects and partners in how they leverage that budget and how they can help kind of prioritize those technologies?
I think one of the key things from an USTO perspective is a couple things. So we leverage existing cameras. So their existing camera infrastructure, they don't need to go out and buy new cameras or new hardware or anything like that. So we're leveraging what they already have. We're basically just taking their investment and making it and enhancing it with Vision AI. The other thing that we do too, which is unique in the industry, is the way that we license our software. So we license it at the feed, not at the camera. So what that really means, and I'll use a university as an example. So a university has dorms and buildings and offices, and then they also have the stadiums. So they may have 4,000 cameras. Let's say they license 500 licenses with Usto. What they can do on game day is actually take 50 of those feeds and move it to game day for that one day. So basically what they're allowed to, they're able to invest in the software, but move those around based on the events that are happening, the days of the week, and really protecting the student body throughout that time.
Yeah. And maybe one of the misconceptions that's out there is that when we're looking at new technology, we need to deploy it everywhere. Otherwise, we're going to have a gap. And to Drew's point, you can use this and flex this to really your highest priority problems that you're trying to solve. And it's a way to help your team be more effective. So this isn't AI as a replacement for all of your security personnel, but it's an AI that's going to help you do a lot more with the existing resources you have and make, response times quicker and help you to actually preempt and prevent threats from becoming, stories that, end tragically, but end with, a happy ending of something being prevented.
Yeah, in terms of the other solutions you brought up, like the metal detectors and, sorry, what was the other one?
Weapon detection. What else did I say? Panic alarms.
Panic alarms, yeah. Yeah. So I actually just had a conversation with a customer, large healthcare network. They had panic alarms all throughout the building. And for 10 years, they've had this solution. And they just found out that panic button doesn't even go to law enforcement, anyone. So who knows? They don't even know where the message is. So in terms of panic alarms and metal detectors, those are all great solutions to have. It's another layer of security. I think where we differ is that we're going to be on the more proactive side versus the reactive side. So identifying the threat before they come into your building and, averting any crisis.
How do you guys, we talk about casinos being a test bed and being a really challenging place to do facial recognition technology and behavior and body detection. So what have you guys seen with those casino customers? Like, where do you kind of see us fitting into that picture, and how have we proved ourselves in that space, for an example, and why does it matter?
Yeah, so I think where we started was in the surveillance room. We've been in some of these casinos for 7+ years. And what they tell us all the time, and they hold us to the challenge, is they'll test us every 6 months. And as soon as we're not the most accurate, the quickest detections, they're going to kick us out. And like I said, we've been there 7 years. I think where we'll see the growth with the casinos is on the security side. I think, a lot of these surveillance rooms are really dedicated to using our software. The security teams now, with our edge to cloud protect product, would allow them to be able to do additional detections. So action alerts, people are crouching down in parking lots, people are running out of the casino. They're doing things outside of the surveillance room, more on the security side and once you hit the street. So I think we'll see a lot of growth with the casino industry on the security side.
And one of the unique things that Uso does at ISC West, because we have so many great customers right there walking distance, is we host tours for prospective clients and customers. So Matt, I know you went last year to a few of the tours that we did. Nate, you were not there. Matt, why don't you share a little bit more about that and what that looked like? I know that was at a first for you. So
it was a first. It was a little intimidating going down to the, most unauthorized area of the casino, and probably one of the top in the world. I would say these casinos are basically printing money, lots of security. I felt like if I took one wrong turn, I was going to hit a sharp wire and just get swarmed. But it's such a cool experience just being able to, see their operational room, team that they have there, and the experience that they have. I always say that we're a tool at the end of the day. a carpenter is only as good as the tools that they have. And the way that they show you how they're using Vusto is really impressive. And there's such a good aid when we're talking with customers, and they go through their process, how they, double confirm on an individual that comes up, the different processes that they had are hugely important when we're talking with customers.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I would just add to what Matt said. I think it's really important just to note that technology is great, but when technology is in skilled hands is when you get the best results. And we've had a number of stories come out of our customers, and I would just emphasize that, the credit goes to them for using it the right way, and then being able to respond once the data does present itself where you have an opportunity to prevent something. And that's what we're most proud of is of our customers using it in the right way to go out and make spaces safer.
Yeah, great points. And I think, just to add to that, in Vegas, our surveillance directors, we work with them all the time to make sure that they're, using the technology in the most efficient way. I know that they have, our guys are on the ground all the time with them, learning how can we improve. It's just a really great place to be for the show this year. So I think I'll close it out with, if someone's watching this, they're 10 days away from ISC West, where do you guys feel like they should kind of focus their efforts in order to get the most value out of the event? Any tips for, first timers that are going, anything they can do in advance of the show beyond preparing, which you kind of mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I think it's just have a game plan. It's a big show. Have a game plan of where you want to go, who you want to see. Obviously, Usto should be on the list for sure. They should certainly be on the list. And really just think about your current status of your security, your perimeters, those type of things, and really look at the technologies that are going to benefit you the most.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say don't be afraid to think outside the box, network, and have an open mind when it comes to what technologies could help you in your environment.
www.usto.com. You can book a demo there and talk to one of us. So that would be my number one recommendation.
Well, thank you guys for joining and talking about the show a little bit. We're excited to, see all of our customers, our partners, prospects out there in Vegas next week. So as Matt mentioned, you connect with us, find us on LinkedIn. Well, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.